everyone, and welcome back to EVs Enhanced. At the end of last year, we released a video introducing our new replacement battery platform for the Nissan LEAF, which we refer to as 16 blade.
The response to that video has been huge, and we'd like to thank everyone who reached out with their questions and feedback. The response has been so big across all platforms that we decided to do this video to tackle some of the more common questions that were put forward to us. Erica Peltz asked, what is the capacity in the green variant?
The green variant is lithium iron phosphate, and with lithium iron phosphate, the best technology that's currently available, 40 kilowatt hour is what is achievable. We can certainly do a lot higher capacities in other chemistries, but sticking with the LFP, that's 40 is basically what is achievable with today's technology. That's not to say that that couldn't increase in the future, but for now, 16 blade green is 40 kilowatt hour.
Cool. A lot of people ask this question, how much are these going to cost?
That is a little bit of a tricky one. Given the current inflation that we're seeing in a lot of the materials that we're buying for the battery. Rather than putting a fixed price on it, I'd be more comfortable to say that a 16 blade green is approximately a third the price of a new car of similar specs. But you do also have the value in the battery that's coming out of the car, which can offset that cost.
And almost as many people in the comments made comparisons of cost to a new cheap Chinese EV. Is this a fair comparison?
That's a little bit of a hard one to say. We haven't really had a lot of Chinese market EVs in Western countries up until now, so I think the jury's still out a little bit in terms of how well those cars are going to hold up long term. The LEAF, on the other hand, has been with us for about 10 years, and we've seen how reliable that car is. And I think a replacement battery on the LEAF makes a lot of sense because we know the car itself is inherently so reliable. If the car was less reliable, then a replacement battery wouldn't make as much sense.
Okay. Another common question is, when will these batteries be available?
That really depends on the market. In New Zealand, we're looking to be selling this battery this year.
Cool. And sticking with the common question area, what countries will these be available in?
Definitely going to start in our home market. It makes sense for the early production to be close to home. And then as our production volumes grow and depending on where the strongest demand is, then we'll be branching out into other countries. There's obviously different regulation requirements in different countries as well, so that will be a factor that comes into it.
Rolf de Boer asks, can the 16 blade green be used in later Z1 LEAFs?
Yeah, that's absolutely our intention. We probably not on a 62 kilowatt hour model, but certainly on a 40 kilowatt hour model. That's definitely our intention. We think even though the capacity of 16 green is very similar to the original battery, the active cooling makes it a far better proposition for someone who wants to do a lot of road trips in their LEAF. So people taking the old 40 out and fitting this battery makes a lot of sense, particularly in countries like New Zealand where the majority of our cars are imported and they don't no longer have the factory warranty in place.
He also asked, is it possible to add CCS?
CCS integration isn't something that we're working on directly, but there is another company that is working on CCS for the LEAF. And in certain markets we see that our battery pack and their charger conversion is would go hand in hand.
Okay. Paul Ross on Facebook says, hopefully I can trade the 40 kilowatt hour battery pack in.
Yeah, that's absolutely something that we intend on being something that happens quite a lot. Well, we see this battery coming in at the top of the food chain and being something superior to the 40, by bringing supply in at the top, that will help push down the pricing of all the other existing second-hand batteries that we have in our fleet. So if someone trades in their 40, then we think that we'll be able to sell or offer the original 40 at a cheaper price to people that might not be quite looking in the price range of what this battery is worth.
And Matthew Holloway, amongst many others, asked, will this be available for the ENV 200 van?
Unfortunately, not the 16 blade platform. This is very specific, basically built from the ground up for the LEAF. The ENV battery pack is a different shape and different size. It's sort of longer and skinnier, and really what we've done here with the LEAF isn't really feasible to do with the ENV. We do also have some ideas in mind for the ENV, but that vehicle is a lot lower production compared to the number of LEAFs that were made, so it's not really feasible for us to go quite to this extent with the ENV 200. GZCWNK says, good, but cost and insurance problems, i.e. getting its new value covered. Yeah, we haven't found this to be the case. We've got quite a bit of experience with putting with LEAF battery upgrades using the existing stock batteries at the moment. So, for example, putting a 30 or a 40 into a car that originally had a 24, and in these cases, in our national market, certification hasn't deemed to be required for these. And in terms of insurance, it's just something that you would be advised to tell your insurance company about. Effectively, you're increasing the value of your car, so you want a higher agreed value rather than just a market value, which could leave you out of pocket if the car was damaged and written off. So that we haven't really had any customers at all that have had problems there, as long as they kind of know what to ask for and dealing with a reasonable insurance company.
Dave Hawkins on Facebook said, not sure why anyone would need 700 kilowatt on tap, while Adam Metalbob on Facebook says he wants the red performance version. So, pretty, they sort of go against each other, I think, and answer each other's question. Tuamo Lane on Facebook asks, will it use the existing LEAF cooling system, or do I need to make some modifications to it?
Yeah, the cooling system on this battery is completely separate to the existing cooling system that's used for the motor inverter and charging. So the stock system all stays in place, and this is basically an additional cooling system that is specifically for the battery.
Cool. Paul Jones on Facebook says, fantastic news. Will this unlock more regen capability in an old Gen 1?
Short answer is yes. As those cars aged, the original regen of 30 kilowatt basically slowly decreased, and a lot of those cars are getting very, very, very little regen. This will bring it back to the stock specs. It's not possible to go beyond the stock specs without making some other modifications to the car. Basically, it's not feasible to do with the battery alone. You need other parts of the car involved in getting more than 30 kilowatt regen.
Over on Reddit, we have Diesel Toaster, who says, y'all remember Phoenix Power? Be very careful. Phoenix ran away and disappeared with a bunch of LEAF owners' money.
I don't think that's a particularly relevant comparison, even though in both cases we're talking about a LEAF battery. We've done a lot and we've showed off a lot, and we're not actually taking any pre-orders at this point. We want to get to a point where we've kind of proved to ourselves that production is basically strong and minimising any chances of being in a position where we can't deliver on promises. So we're careful about what we promised and careful about taking money off people, because basically taking money off leaf owners and not being able to deliver is definitely something that we want to avoid at all costs.
Also on Reddit, New Zealand Tesla driver says they should definitely offer a light edition, cheaper with no cooling.
Yeah, this is something we've talked about. It is possible. The real advantage of the cooling system in this battery comes down to fast charging. If you were just going to use the battery for daily commuting and weren't going to be going on longer trips where you had multiple fast chargers in a day, then you could get away without the cooling. The lithium iron phosphate on the green is inherently far more stable at higher temperatures than other chemistries. So it is a possibility. It's not something that we're going to start on out of the gate, but it's also not something that we would completely rule out either.
And Rajiv says, hi, can you please give me some info regarding the active cooling system? Is it liquid cooled or air cooled, and any periodic checkup or liquid top ups for battery maintenance?
Yeah, so it's liquid cooled. That's all these hoses that you see here, carrying the fluid to all of the modules. The service life of the coolant should be above 10 years. So we're thinking the battery is going to be substantially longer than that. There may be basically a periodic change required at around the 10-year mark.
Okay. And Devlin says, since I'll be putting the battery in old cars, the cost should pay for itself as the vehicle ages. It will be easier to replace the car and use the same battery pack. So thank you, Walter and team, for this positive news for leaf owners.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. A lot of people ask, why would I put such a good battery in an older car? And sometimes people bring up the chance of what if that car breaks down because it's getting older or something else. That is a good point. These batteries are all compatible with a whole bunch of different years of the Leaf, and you could easily keep the battery and move it to another car, or even if you sold that car, say you had an older Leaf and wanted to move to a newer one and keep your battery, that's definitely a viable thing. Really, what you're paying for with this battery is its capacity, its lifespan, and its ability to go on trips without having to worry about overheating it.
Brian says, I'm assuming that the 16-blade battery would come with a warranty lasting a good number of years?
Yeah, that's right. We are planning on having two options. One is a shorter manufacturer's warranty offered by us, and the other would be an extended warranty offered by a different company with a lot more funding and underwritten by someone even bigger still. And that extended warranty, we would like to be on par with buying a new EV, so somewhere around the 8-year mark and 160,000 kilometres, basically on par with the battery that you get if you buy a new Leaf.
Cool. So I think that about does it, and hopefully that answers a few of your burning questions. Please keep the feedback and questions coming. We might even do another Q&A session if we get a few interesting ones come through. But for now, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.